Hello, I am your host, Kathy Chester, and welcome to the Move It or Lose It podcast, a podcast about all things that move the mind, body, and soul. The Move It or Lose It podcast is for information, awareness, and inspirational purposes only. I am not a doctor, and I don't even play one on TV, so please consult your doctor before making any medical decisions. The views expressed by advertisers, guests, or contributors are their opinions and not necessarily the views of the Move It or Lose It podcast.
You are I just told my friend who's newly diagnosed, I was like, one of the biggest things you're going to find out is what a badass you are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And, and only because, not because you're trying to be, but because you kind of have to be to keep going. And
you don't know how much strength you have.
Well, right. And this is what I would honestly say. You have two choices. You can sit down and your life is over because of this, or you can decide that you are never going to waste time. Like for me, I have decided I am not going to regret the things that I didn't do. I'm going to regret the things I did.
Yes.
I don't know how long I'm going to have until a wheelchair. I don't know. None of us know how long we're going to have till anything.
Right.
But MS makes you feel more vulnerable.
Yes.
But life is vulnerable and messy anyway.
Absolutely.
Take the risks that you want to take and this is the bottom line. You reserve the right to edit your life at any given moment. So go out and try something and even within photography, I did some things and I was like, well, I don't really like that. So I'm just going to pivot. It's not, it doesn't mean it's a failure. It's just not aligned to me. I'm going to pivot and I'm going to do more of this. And so if you are somebody that has to step away from your career, that doesn't mean you have stepped away from your gifts, your talents, your skills. You can still find ways to do those things. And a lot of times our roles like motherhood or our job title or whatever are too much intermeshed with our identity.
Yes. Yes.
And that's even if photography goes away for me tomorrow, I'm an encourager of women. I'm a mentor. I mentor other creatives. I can find other things. And it doesn't mean it's not hard. So I guess I would just say mostly I would just cry with you and tell you there's grace. And I would say life is not over. You have so many things and gifts, but you won't figure out how to use them or what they are unless you get up and you start messy. You have to the only way you learn is failure and moving forward.
Yes, 100%. And we've been there and I think there is a strength to that, right? I think that even if you're not 100% there, I think it always helps to have someone in your corner. Yeah. When you go into that, whether it's your significant other or it's your best friend, whoever that is that can give you that when you get that no, and maybe your personality isn't one that can hear no and recover quickly. Yeah. It depends on who you are. But I would say going into entrepreneuring, I would say, know that about you and know that if you have a really tender heart, that you may need that support person to say, you're okay, girl. You got this.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And reframing some of that stuff for me, rejection, the first, I don't know how many times I sent an email with my rates for photography and someone wrote back oh, I can't afford that. That's too expensive. I'm looking for an affordable, whatever. I used to feel so small.
Yes.
And so rejected. But what I started realizing is those are not my clients.
Exactly.
Because my clients will appreciate what I offer.
Yes.
And not in a mean way, but it's just it's okay. I'm not for everybody. And you have to say failure is feedback.
Right.
And you know what, one of the greatest predictors, I do a lot of this because as foster parents, we had to study a lot of resilience.
I just wish you had more stuff in your life that you've done.
Oh my gosh, girl. Well, it's funny because being a foster parent has actually made us better parents to our bio kids, to everybody. But one of the things, and it taught me a lot, it actually healed a lot of places in me from my own childhood too, because I realized
I'm sure it would.
Yeah. Resilience though, resilience is not formed. You have to have adversity to have resilience.
Yeah.
You can't by definition be a very resilient person if nothing hard has ever happened to you. And if you're a human, I don't care if you have MS or you don't, if you're a human, you're going to encounter hard things.
For sure.
And it's our decision what we do with it. But this category that they started researching called grit is
Mm-hmm.
the ability to take hard things, basically take hits and keep going,
Right.
is actually more of a predictor of success in life than intelligence, than
Interesting.
skill, because
Yeah.
the people that can keep going are the
Mm-hmm.
ones that continually show up. And I tell my kids,
Right.
like, you're right, this sucks. Let's sit in the emotion of this. But like, you get the choice to get up and keep at it tomorrow.
Right.
Like, you get
Right.
to show up again in that classroom where that kid made fun of you. You get to show up again in that basketball game when you totally failed in front of all your peers.
Yeah.
And as adults, we start losing public failure. Like,
Yeah.
we don't do it as much as kids do.
Right.
And what does that do to us? It makes us live smaller sometimes and
Yeah.
scared. And I'm
Oh, for
like,
sure.
where can I publicly fail? I'm going to do it every day
Yes.
on Instagram and
Yes.
in my photo shoots. I'm going to figure it out the hard way. I'm going to
Oh,
learn.
yeah.
And right now I'm learning video. I'm so excited. And
Oh,
the
you
first video,
are?
yeah, I'm doing a course, and
Wow.
the first video I did was horrible. Horrible, Kathy. It was so shaky because my hand is always shaking with the
So
MS
you're doing it
tremors.
on your own? So you're doing
Yeah,
it. Okay.
but my goal is to fail. My goal is to
Yeah.
fail at it a lot so that I can succeed at it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Absolutely.
go out and I'm gonna try it a million different ways and a million times until I know how to do it.
Yes.
That's
So
so it's
tell
like I
me
don't.
your personality. So I remember when I started this, and you know this story. So when I did it, it was, I didn't know how much of this was, I just let the gym go. I just, I was on, I never had time to be on, any social media stuff. So I'm just on there, and I all of a sudden get hit up by like the bigger MS, gym kind of things, not the MS gym with Trevor, they're great. But it was like this one guy just constantly would tell me, like, you're never going to make it. You're never going to make it. Plus you've been like, I've seen you like trying to use those trekking poles. What do you think they're going to think about you? And I was so glad that I didn't, take what he said and just get terrified and leave, even though that's not my personality. But I thought how many women would take that and be fearful and think, he's right. What am I even
Yeah,
thinking? And close the chapter on that. And
yeah,
then had I done that, I would have missed out on everything. Time with you, the podcasting,
yeah,
the clients, the patients I get to see,
yeah.
that I
Well,
get
and
to
the
see their
impact that
faces.
you make, the impact. So,
Thank you.
like, to me,
Yes.
also as an entrepreneur is an invitation to make income by making
Yes.
impact on other
Yes.
people. And that's the way I
Absolutely.
view it. And sales, all that, it's not scammy and gross unless you are.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and this is the thing. Now I just laugh. That guy sending you those messages, I mean,
Right.
bless it. That is 100% more about him than about you. And this
Absolutely.
is
Yes.
always, yeah. And this is what I always say to people. I mentor other, women in business. And I say, do you want to take advice from somebody you would never trade places with?
Right.
Like, do you want to be, because there's haters, right? There's
Oh,
people, there's
absolutely.
trolls, there's haters, whatever. I don't know who this person is, but like, I want to be in environments that have
Right.
encouragement and challenge. So it's not like
Yeah.
I don't want to take criticism or feedback. Of
Right.
course, I want to take criticism and feedback, but from
Always.
people, yeah, but from people who've earned the right to say that to me. If you're
100%.
like, I once put out
Invest in
something.
me. And
Yeah, well,
then I totally take that.
and I once put out something on Instagram of me dancing in the kitchen with my kids. And somebody wrote on there, it was literally, now I laugh about it, but then I wanted to just crawl in a hole and never go on
Oh
Instagram again.
gosh, I
They
can't
wrote,
imagine.
"You're so fat and ugly, your kids should be taken away from you." And I was like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
But then, you know what's so funny? My friends in the comments like
Oh,
came
were
for
they
that
just
person.
blasting?
Yes. And I didn't even see all this, right? So then I was just like, later, I was like, okay, like, block and bless is my favorite thing on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Oh
I'm just
yeah.
gonna block you and bless you. But like,
Yeah.
I just thought to myself, I actually had compassion, because can you imagine? I'm so busy in the day, and
Yeah.
I'm so busy in my day doing positive things,
Right.
and helping other people, I hope, and
Yeah.
like mothering my kids and like serving and like delivering stuff to clients. I don't have time to go on any social media and hate
Right.
on someone else. Like,
Right.
now I'm not saying I never have a thought when I'm scrolling of like, ooh, maybe that's a
Yeah.
little funky, whatever. But the
Yeah.
idea of somebody then saying
Taking
that,
that much time.
it's just like, I don't want to be like
Right.
that. I don't want to be
Right.
surrounded by that energy. I don't want to have anything to do with
No.
somebody who would tell someone else that they're
Yeah.
not worthy of their dream.
Absolutely.
And I don't,
Absolutely.
I like, this is what I say, like, go ahead and doubt me all day long, because
Yeah.
brace yourself for the comeback, because like, I
Yes.
don't need your approval to do what I do. I
Right.
know who I am, because that's what it goes back to this idea of like, when women walk out of styled sessions,
Yeah.
what we want them to feel is empowered,
Yes.
encouraged, so that like they can go on and show up in their business and show up
Yes.
on social media and show up, if that's how they're building their business, or show up on
Yeah.
LinkedIn, whatever, with a new kind of confidence. And they're not worried about people that are going to
Right.
say that to them,
Okay, so let's talk a
because
little bit about
they're in
that
a room
again.
with women that actually want to see them win.
Yes. So they go there and everybody that's going is doing or going to do some kind of entrepreneuring. Okay.
Well, yeah, or they're just like, we actually had like a pastor come, and she wore her
Okay.
collar for her
Okay.
website. We've had all kinds of different kind of people.
Okay.
Many of them do use social media in some ways, like they need a lot of content type photos.
Okay.
But we had people that just needed like a headshot, but they just wanted the experience. You know what? My doctor, one
Right.
of my pediatricians, is coming next time.
Oh, really? That's awesome. So
Yeah.
now during that time, do you guys do any talking with them? Is there any talking going on, or is it just fun
Yeah,
getting
no,
them?
yeah. So it's like you come in,
Hmm.
and you get your like, you get your hair done, you get styled by Natalie, and we're just hyping, we're just talking to you, asking you, what do you do? Like, how do you want
Right.
to present yourself? Are you comfortable with this? Do you want to wear this? Like, we have blazers, we have, all kinds of pieces for them to wear, hats
Yeah.
and jewelry. And we're like, hey, let's do, so we try to keep them in their comfort zone for some of the
Yeah.
photos. And then we try to be like, hey, you want to do something crazy? Like, let's throw in some, like a disco ball, a crazy this,
Yeah.
like a fun this. And if that's not your vibe, totally cool. But the reason why we want to do that is just to like help them see themselves in a different way.
Oh, yeah.
To maybe have some fun images they can share on social media when they sell a house. Like, she
Yeah.
did like this fun, like, she had a sign and like celebrating, and like, just thinking outside the box. Like, gone are the days of like
Yeah.
the most boring headshots ever. Like,
Right.
let's showcase your personality. And
For
that's
sure.
why I want people, I know it's very vulnerable to get in front of the camera, and I want them to feel
Yeah.
comfortable. So that's why we play
Right.
music. We just really tell them they're beautiful. And we're
Yeah.
looking at the camera, we're looking at angles, we're like telling them to move this way, do this. And then we show them the back of the camera.
Yeah.
There's no like mystery.
Yeah.
We want them to feel excited, and then we're just cheering for them. I mean, it's a hype session. It's
Yeah.
like, it's a hype session, and you walk out also with photos.
Yes.
It's
And
like,
we need that so much more than
yeah.
we understand we
Oh,
do.
yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it
And
makes so much of it. I used to do that with my trainers at the gym, is I
yes.
had a photographer that I loved, and she would just do all these fun photos with them. And I would
Yeah.
pay for them to get their hair done, makeup done, all that. And then I just wanted them to know what an important part they were
Yeah.
to my business, and that they were, not just beautiful, but they offered so much to it. They're not just, the
Their
way they looked.
uniqueness.
Yes.
Right.
But what they brought to this, I wanted
Yes.
them to take ownership of. Each one of you bring something so special to
Yeah.
this gym. And I don't
Yeah.
ever want you to think I don't recognize that, or think that
Yeah.
each one of you have something that is so crucial and important to each client and to me.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was just a really fun time that we would do that. It was
I
something I
love
really look
that.
forward to.
I love that you did that.
So
Yeah. And
it
that's
reminds
the
me of
vibe.
that.
It's like, when we're doing this, the idea is like, to let people know you can be confident and capable, and like other women see
Yes.
and want to celebrate you. And so that, because the reason why, right, it comes down to the times in my life where I have felt truly like seen and appreciated and hyped up, like, in not a fake way, but a very real, like, you're putting yourself out there in the world, like, good for you.
Yeah.
Then I go out a little bit more fearless, right?
Yeah.
Because you go out from a place like that, whether it's a conference or in it, there's lots of
Right.
environments that can do this. We just happen to try to create it through these styled sessions, but there's
Yeah.
lots of places. And that's why I say, back to your question earlier, like, get with community, right? If you
Right.
want to be a successful person, get with 9 other successful people. If
Yes.
you want to be a complaining person that only sees the negative, hang out with 9 people that only complain. That's the
Yep.
truth. I mean, you have to at some point edit and curate your
Yes.
life, and I just don't want to be around Now, I don't
Yeah.
want to be toxic positive. People that know me know that I cry. When I was hospitalized in March and couldn't walk, it got real dark um
Yeah.
for a little bit. But I not but and it also was always full of hope because I knew that that was
Yes.
not it. So I had those people come into my hospital room.
Yeah.
I have a dancing video with the IV pole. Like there is always hope.
Yeah.
But the style sessions is that it's like you walk out of there more
Yeah.
able to take on the world and to show up in a different way because so much of life is how you show
Right.
up. I tell my
Absolutely.
kids like you want to be confident, you have to start showing up and using your gifts and you get confident.
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
get confident by faking it till you make it. You don't get
Right.
confident by
Right.
reading about it. You
Right.
get confident by being around
Doing
other
it.
women that are doing
Yeah.
that, scared, doing
Yes.
scary stuff, scared and
Yes.
are encouraging you and cheering for you. And that's what we're doing. We're
Absolutely.
just other women that are doing that same thing and we want to celebrate people. So,
And if it's
yeah, it's fun.
toxic, move out, because that's the biggest thing
Yeah.
is sometimes we don't know how toxic it is. And
Yes.
sometimes when we have those friends and, different entrepreneurs, which I think is so important that you have those friendships doing other things that we're doing, doing entrepreneuring, because no one really knows that until you're doing it. No one
Yeah.
really gets it until you're doing it. But
Yeah.
I think that's so important to have those people in your life that can give you that spur. It's okay. Got it.
Yes.
If you want to just have that vent, like I
Yeah.
just need girlfriend just to vent for a minute, to
Yeah.
have that and then know that on the other end, you'll
Yeah.
be there for them. But those things
Yeah.
are so important. And I think
Yeah.
that getting those women all like pumped up and getting them all excited means so much, because you and I both know there's a lot of days it's tough,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
right. And to have those times in the year that you can really get each other excited.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of what I loved, and I want to do it again, is we did like once a month, it was like a wind down Wednesday. And we did that where we had women on, and I would kind of change it up where they could talk about what they were doing besides, having MS. But what are
Yeah.
you doing
Yeah.
outside of that? And it was a lot of entrepreneuring and, how are you doing with it?
Yeah.
And so, really the vibe for me was, if you're not celebrating each other, then
Yes.
it's not going to work, because it
Yes.
has to be women that
Well,
are doing that.
and I've realized I was in some spaces where I couldn't fully be myself, or I was kind of, it was, I was told to like, tone it down a little bit or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not saying there's, I don't have a lot of personal growth left
Right.
in my journey. Of course I do. But there's a difference when you really
Hmm.
sense that if you have a win, like for me, when
Yeah.
I got to go, you know, overseas and kind of live a dream I had with photography. And I realized, hey, some of these people I've done life with for years, they're not even really happy for me.
Right.
I just realized they don't know me and
Right.
they're not happy for me and I'm happy, truly happy for them. And so you have to kind of, you gotta
Yeah.
cut your losses on some of that stuff.
Exactly.
Or if you're the person, because there was a time in my life where I was the person who was jealous of people.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
let me be honest. And you know what I had to realize through therapy and soul searching and like Jesus convicting me was
Hmm.
you're unhappy. And so you want others to be unhappy.
Yeah.
If
Wow,
you're
Roxanne, that's
true,
good.
well, and truly happy, content people that feel on fire and passionate about their life, I am so happy for other women that feel that.
Yeah.
If you don't, and I'm not saying you feel that every second of every
Right.
day, but
Right.
like I am a very passionate person that loves my
Right.
life. I love my
Yeah.
life. So I can freely be for other people and celebrate them.
Yes.
If I ever feel that jealousy or that like, like, oh, yay for you, but like
Right.
inside internally hating, you know what I
Right.
know? That's about me. And
Something's
I need to
exactly.
run my butt back to therapy and figure out
You
what's
bet.
going on.
Yes.
So it's like
Always.
if you're triggered by other people winning, that's about
Yes.
you and you need to figure that out.
100%.
But
And
if
I don't
you're,
even know if women know that. I would say,
yeah,
Roxanne, very
yeah,
few. The fact that you know that is so good, because all the years of counseling, life coaching and all that, it's always stunning to me. And I think because you've had counseling and I've had counseling, like
all the
I've known
time.
that for so long, that
Yeah,
okay, if I'm getting jealous, if I'm seeing a person and they're doing the kind of stuff that I'm doing and they're doing so much better. Like, well, what's going, then it's like, okay, I need to go get in my prayer closet for me,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
that's where my faith is. And I need to find out what's going on with me.
Yeah.
And why am I so pissy? Why am I so jealous of what's happening? And I need to figure that out for me. Because
Right.
mostly that's what we need to figure out about ourselves, because it's not
Well,
about
and
that person.
no, and envy, even if a person is like really arrogant or whatever, like
Right.
you can say, oh, that's just not how I would
Yeah.
choose to live. But
Right.
like, you know, envy is like this emotion in us, right? That can lead us to judgment and
Right.
distance, or
Right.
it can lead us to self-reflection and growth.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
if you're envious, or when I'm envious, I should say, because again, I'm admitting all my garbage on here too, right? Like that
Right.
is about the fact that then I am probably burying gifts that I have, skills that I'm meant to use in the world, and I'm just
Right.
too afraid to take that risk. And
Yeah.
she's over there taking that risk, and
Yeah.
that's why I envy her.
Yes.
So this
Yeah.
is what I have to say. Instead of that, get a mentor, get somebody like that.
Yeah.
Like that's why I
Yeah.
mentor other women, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the real truth. It's scary. You're not gonna talk yourself into being
Right.
unafraid or courageous. You're
Right.
just gonna start taking the action with somebody holding your hand. And then pretty soon you're not gonna need that person to hold your hand, and you're gonna start
Right.
holding someone else's hand. Right?
100%.
And that's
Yeah.
how it
That's
works.
how
It's
it
like
goes.
I want to always be climbing a mountain, and I want to be
Yeah.
reaching up to somebody who's above me and learning from them, and reaching back and helping somebody
Yeah.
below me and
Love
help them,
that.
you know?
I've
Always.
seen that picture. Yes. I
Yes,
love
it's
that.
so good. I'm like,
It is.
that's the way we're meant to live. It's like there's
Yes.
always going to be people that we have to learn from and grow, and like we can be
Yeah.
inspired by. But instead of be envious, what if you chose to really change your mindset and be inspired
100%.
by them instead of
Yep. That
envious?
is one of the things I think as a mom, I've said so often. I think it's just learning it is
Yeah.
what if we reframe that and
Yeah.
change that? How much, how much better would it feel if we did that? And I think a lot of
Yeah.
it, honestly, Roxanne, we know that being sick, we've learned to reframe things,
Oh my
because
gosh, yes.
like we talked about getting the diagnosis. I could see it as such a negative in my life. It's been so many years. But when I see it as something that changed me as a mom, in the sense that, I was always running, like my hair was on fire. And you can imagine with our energy, I was like, I could do this, I could do that. And it gave me that time that I was like, "Ugh, okay, I have to lay down now." But the kids were all
Yeah.
over me. And it was like, oh, they needed this. They needed
Yeah.
me around more to be like laying down and sitting.
Wow.
And so it was
It's
a
almost
real eye
like
opener.
it made you, I say this sometimes, my disease. I don't know that I would go so far as to say like I'm so grateful I have MS, right? Like, oh,
Right. No one's
I would write a strongly worded, nasty review about it. But
right.
if asked, but I will say it has given me more of the gift of presence
Yes.
and of intention,
Yeah.
because I don't want to waste time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to waste time because I
And
don't know.
love.
Yeah, and energy. And so it's
Yeah.
like, I really want to be, and it goes back to life and
Yeah.
entrepreneurship. I want to be with my family and friends that I love,
Yeah.
that appreciate me, that allow me to show up as myself, and I can allow them to show up as
Yeah.
themselves. And then I want to be with clients and with
Right.
other entrepreneurs and business people that are for me and I'm for them, and we can
Right.
celebrate each other. I don't have time. I don't have
I want to
energy or
take care of
time.
myself. So then when I see you and I'm doing a
Yeah.
podcast, or I'm having my grandbaby
Yeah.
in 5 weeks,
Oh my
I want to
gosh.
be the most amazing grandma in the world. I don't want to
And be
be,
present.
I'm just too tired. I
Yeah.
want to be energetic, and
Yeah.
you got to do what gives you energy. And I
Yeah.
love what you're doing with this, because
And no one
it
else
pumps
is
them
going to,
up.
yes, and nobody else is going to respect your boundaries unless you do. Right.
100,
That's a
absolutely.
huge thing. And I've had to, this is the other thing you have to let go of, I think, when you have a diagnosis. I used to really try to please so many people. And now I am not responsible for other people's disappointment at my boundaries.
Mm,
And I'm not going to say yes to things that I'm not aligned to. And I don't have to give a long reason
right.
why. I can just
Right.
say no. And this is the thing. I don't also, I sometimes I think when we try to over explain ourselves, like, well, I
Yeah.
can't do that because I have MS and I'm really tired and I have
Oh,
this
I
work
do
thing and I
that a
have this,
lot.
Right.
I'm still working on that, Roxanne. It's
Well, it's
still a
almost
work in
sometimes like we're
progress.
manipulating them,
Yeah.
right? Like it's almost like we're making it about our agenda. It is, let
Yeah.
me just say this to anybody listening. You are allowed to say no and
Yeah.
yes and mean it. You are
Yeah.
allowed to say yes to yourself, to your family, to your priorities, to your gifts, your
Yeah.
skills, and use them. And you are allowed to say no to things that drain you, to people that are toxic, to people that don't appreciate you, to
Yes.
spaces that don't, affirm you in
And
any
I'll even
way.
add to that, Roxanne, then you don't have the right if you decide to do it when you know your body can't, when you know you
Yeah.
shouldn't have, to be mad at everybody else because you did it.
Ooh, okay.
Right,
Okay.
girlfriend? Because that's not
Yes.
fair. You can't be
Yes.
pissed at everybody else because you
Oh,
decided, I don't want them to be upset with me. Okay, I'm just going to
yep,
do it. Then you come back
yep,
exhausted
yep.
and you got nothing left, but you're just pissed at everybody else because you
Oh my
did it.
gosh, yes.
Not okay.
Well, and it's like then you build this like quiet resentment and disdain,
Right.
but really who you should have resentment towards is yourself. You should like
Yep.
you are responsible for your own
Hmm.
self and you
And
should
take that
say,
as a learning lesson for you.
yep. And I
Yeah.
still get that wrong. Let me just be honest.
Oh,
Like sometimes
yes.
I say yes and I should have said no, but again,
Right.
then I modify. Like
Yes.
again, that's a failure, quote unquote, but failure is learning. Every
Yeah.
time you fail, it's just feedback. It's like,
Yes.
okay, I said yes to that thing at the kids' school, and I actually like, okay, my kids' school has this Mick teacher night thing.
Uh,
It is horrifying. It is at McDonald's. I shouldn't even,
when you said Mick, I was like, oh,
oh
this
gosh.
sounds
And it's
horrible.
all the kids, and it literally smells like farts, feet, and
Oh,
French
I
fries.
bet. I
It's like, it's
bet.
horrible in there. They're all running around. And so I just was like, why do I keep saying yes to this when
Right.
really I hate it? And I always walk away so drained. I can't even have a good
Right.
conversation with another parent because everyone's
Right.
screaming. I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. I don't care
Right.
anymore. I'm not going to take the photos and I just am not, it's
Right.
not aligned to me. It's fine.
Right.
But I was like, for two or 3 years, I would go and
Oh,
then be like,
yeah.
I would come home and be grouchy with my husband and be like,
Right.
you take these kids. I'm exhausted,
Yeah.
whatever.
You
Because
do dinner, do it all. I've done
yeah, I
enough.
know that's a
It's
stupid
like,
example, but it's like,
no, but it's so true.
just say no if you mean no.
Yes.
And then you know what's awesome about saying no is
Yeah.
that your yeses become so much more exciting and clear and
Right.
powerful. It's like
100%.
if you get excited, like when I say yes about something, I'm excited. These styled
Yeah.
sessions, it's a hell yes for me because
Yeah.
I love feeling this kind of encouragement and pumped up. I already told
Oh,
the
for
women that I do
sure.
this with, I'm going to bawl my eyes out because this is the last one in Illinois.
Oh, right.
But I'm like, it's because it's been such a good
Yeah.
journey, right?
But how
And it's
exciting
been
it's going to be to see
yeah,
what's next. You know,
yeah,
what
I
God has for
know.
you.
I'm
I
still
mean, scary,
terrified,
but
but yes,
again, do it
yes,
afraid.
yes,
And
I know. I got
how
to take my own
exciting it'll
advice.
be.
I got to take my own advice.
Yes.
I hate that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for you for this
Yeah.
one because I'm going to be there, dang it.
I
And
hope you can, we got to figure it
I,
out. We'll have
yeah,
to
figure it out, girl.
add another session for you. Let me
Yeah,
know.
because I definitely want to be there for sure. For sure, for
Awesome.
sure. But you know, it's going to be something, and I can't wait to hear about it. I can't wait to help however I can. You know, I will.
Yeah, thank
And
you so much.
all the
I
time.
appreciate your encouragement and I
Yes.
appreciate our, offline chats and just,
Yeah.
you're such an encouraging person that's so for other women
Thank
as well.
you.
And that's why we align and
Yeah. It's a
I love
big part of
partnering.
me. It's like, you know, the same thing you said. I do,
Yeah.
I love what I do, but I'm like, don't pigeonhole me. I'm not just
Yeah.
the move it or
Yeah.
lose it. There's so much more. I love doing public speaking. I love doing, you know, entrepreneur. I love helping women figure out what their dreams are and helping them,
Yes.
you know, this is what you can do. And a lot of times I'm doing that. And so,
Yeah.
you know, you get pigeonholed into one thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I love to do.
Well, and that's why
So,
like when people are like, you have to pick just one niche, I'm always like, but I'm a
eh,
complicated, complex
yeah,
person. And this is what if I had a niche, this is what it is. Trying really hard to heal and live fully alive and wanting to surround myself with other people that are doing that.
love that.
That's it.
Perfect. Beautiful. And that's perfect. Perfect to end. So
Oh,
that
cool.
I know that this one is sold out, but what I want, are they going to be able to see when you're done with this one? People
Yeah.
that Okay,
Yeah.
good. Because I
So if
want them
they
to be able
follow
to see
me,
it.
yeah, maybe you can put both my socials
Yep.
in the
Yep.
show
So
notes
I'll
or
have
whatever.
all your information at the bottom of the show notes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll put that, and
So,
then it'll be on my website,
mhm.
the headshots, the portraits we do, and then we
Yes.
always create some fun videos to kind of
Yeah.
showcase what we did. So yeah, as long as
I love that.
everybody gives consent and everything, it'll be there.
Yeah.
So
Perfect. So then they can see, and we really, the goal of this is for all of us to be able to see that when you feel sometimes like, we've had to quit jobs, we've had to do this, and
yeah.
you're not so sick that it's like you can't do anything. You're not laying there with nothing, but you
Yeah.
want to still do stuff.
Yeah.
You're not done. There's
You
so
are
many different
not.
ideas, so many things.
And
And
you don't have
so,
to like something like this style sessions. I always say, even if you don't need a headshot for work, come and just be reminded of your created beauty. Like,
love that.
if you don't want to post a single one of these headshots, that's fine.
Right.
It doesn't have to be for anyone else. Like, know that you as a woman are worthy to be
Yes.
celebrated and seen. You
Yeah.
are worthy to be celebrated and seen.
Yeah. Amen. All right, let's cheers to March.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
March,
I
and
got my cup
I
here.
like it. I just have my hail because, all right, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you,
It will
friend.
be amazing. Love you, girl. I
Yes.
can't wait to hear how it went. Well, I'll be there. So
Oh,
I'll
amazing. That would be
report
cool.
on it. So very excited for you. I'm very
Cool.
excited about what you're doing. I love you. I love your passion. If you ever lose it a little, I'll be right on your rear end to make sure you
Please.
get it back.
Yeah.
So you can move because I'll visit you. It'd just be another fun place to visit.
Yeah. Well, next time I'm in the
So
hospital, I gotta get a video session with you to get my legs going again.
yes, yes, we do. I will do that. So I
Cool.
love you. And again, guys, make sure, I want you just to be able to be encouraged by this one, a little bit different. And I want you to be encouraged by this.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I love interviewing doctors and patients, and I really wanted this to be an encouraging podcast where you can see what is possible when we don't give up and when we just say, let's go for it. So we'll make mistakes, we'll fail. And
That's
then
right.
out of the failing is us doing some really amazing things. So thank you, Roxanne. I love you so much. And I can't wait for you guys to see this and hear feedback from this one. So have a great rest of your day or night. And I can't wait to see you guys back soon. So toodles till next time, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Move It or Lose It podcast, where you can again find us every Tuesday, and also wherever you like your podcast, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. Join us on that. And we can't wait to see you again. We're going to have a lot of exciting guests and working together. And as always, you'll hear us say at the end of every podcast, we are stronger together. So let's do it. Let's become stronger together. Have a great day.